Hello everyone, Scott Myers here, and this podcast is sponsored by the Self Storage Academy, which is being held live in Phoenix, Arizona, November 4th through the 6th, and I absolutely want you to be there. Listen, there has never been a better time to invest in self-storage, and there is no better team than ours to show you how to do it, because we wrote the book on how to invest in self-storage. Literally, I created the best-selling home study system back in 2007 titled How to Find, Evaluate, Purchase, and Manage Self-Storage Facilities, and since then, we have helped thousands of people launch and scale their self-storage business. We have now become the nation's go-to resource for all things self-storage. And that's because we not only talk the talk, but we walk the walk. Day in and day out since 2005, amassing 2.4 million square feet of self-storage, totaling over 14,000 doors nationwide. So if you're ready to launch or explode your self-storage business, then go to selfstorageinvesting.com, click on the events tab to grab your ticket to the upcoming Self-Storage Academy in Phoenix, November 4th through the 6th, along with tickets to our virtual academy for those who can't make it or just aren't ready to go live at this time. That's selfstorageinvesting.com, click on the events tab, but do it now. Seating is limited, and we have sold out every academy since 2008, with the exception of one, so go and do it now. And on behalf of my team, we look forward to seeing you in the Valley of the Sun, November 4th through the 6th. Take care. This is the Self Storage Podcast, where we share the knowledge and skills from the industry's leading investors, developers, and operators to help you launch and grow your self-storage business. I'm your host, Scott Myers, and over the past 16 years, we have acquired, developed, converted, and syndicated over 2 million square feet of self-storage nationwide with the help of my incredible team at selfstorageinvesting.com, who has helped thousands of people achieve greatness in self-storage. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Self Storage Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Myers, and this week's guest is my good friends, Glenn and Amber Schworm. Glenn and Amanda have over 25 years of experience starting, building, and growing successful real estate businesses. Their first goal was simply to get out of debt, and this was the only way they saw to earn large chunks of cash. Well, that one flip turned to 3 flips the next year, then 7, and then 20, and now several hundred since 2008. Currently, they have built an amazing team in a diverse real estate investment company that wholesales, rehabs, retails, and holds rental real estate. In addition, Glenn's true passion is helping others succeed through his education company that teaches investors how to grow and scale a real estate business patterned after their experience and best business practices. Now, I met Glenn and Amanda through a joint mastermind and have been extremely impressed by their ability to attract top talent to scale their real estate machine, which is the focus of this podcast. So without further ado, please enjoy my conversation with Glenn and Amber Schworm. Hey, Glenn and Amber, welcome to the show.
All right, Scott, thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Well, it's been a while since we caught up. As I mentioned in the intro, we met at another mastermind, and I was just so impressed with the approach that you take to your business and how you've been growing it and scaling it, and also on the staffing side as well. But just to see how your businesses have exploded, both the education side as well as the investing side, that only happens, and it only happens with good people. So I just wanted to, I'm thankful that we have this time to be able to share that story and how you're doing things with the rest of our audience. So I'm giving everybody a brief bio, but why don't you fill in the gaps and then let us know what you've been up to recently.
Gosh, it's been such a whirlwind this past year. We went from doing we have our flipping business, does 100 deals a year, and we're expanding that. We're looking to grow in different markets right now, which is a crazy time. And we recently moved to Florida. We bought our dream home down here on the Gulf Coast in Florida. That's been quite an undertaking. I wasn't expecting to be so much work. It's been a lot. The house needs a little bit of work. You see the kitchen, that's like the only part that's done right now in the house. The rest of it's not quite done. So we're living in boxes still, but it's been a bit of an undertaking. We actually moved our office down here. We're moving both offices down here now. So it's been a lot going on with that. Our education business has been, exploding, doing extremely well. We put on a home flipping workshop, and we've been able to impact people all over the country and do it from our home. And the cool part is, we don't have to leave our home and our families to impact other people's families. Used to be we had to leave a lot and travel a lot.
Yeah, well, you guys have been able to be an overnight success, 8 years in the making, right?
Right. About 30 years in the making, I'd say.
Yeah,
about 30.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's not 8. I wish it was 8. I was thinking this morning, funny you said that, I was thinking this morning about how so many people I was having a conversation with one of my leaders, one of my companies, and she said, well, why would this person lie to me? I said, I don't know, but why do girls put filters on themselves on Facebook? And why do people rent?
Not just girls, boys do that too.
I understand. Well, whatever. So why do people rent, plane fuselages to do videos in? And why do they rent cars to do videos? People lie. I don't know. People they're always like saying that life is so great. And it is great. But it's a grind. If you want to just be an average person and live an average life, that's a life. You can do that. In my mind, that's more of a grind, but people do that. But if you want to live at the levels that we live at, you too. And if you want to live at the levels of generating wealth and giving back and all that stuff, that just living life at a different level, it's a grind. And I don't know about you. For me, it's been a nonstop roller coaster. Even as I go up the roller coaster, it still goes up and down. It still does that. So I think people don't share that enough. And I think that when people hear our story, they tend to go, "Gosh, if they can do it, maybe we can do it." And every time I hear people's success stories, and that's all I hear is success. I want to know what's going on behind the scenes. I want to know what really happens, because I know what you say on Facebook, but what's really happening. I think that's what helps inspire people. So.
Well, we're living that as well, and that's why our journeys are exactly the same, and that's why I wanted to have you on here. We are in the business day to day, in the grind, in the trenches. We have a 60-hour-a-week investing business, and we also have a 60-hour-a-week information and education business as well. And there's just not enough time to do all of that, and you have to execute. What was it? Mr. Hoffman said it at our last mastermind meeting. He said, ideas are great and they're welcome here, but execution, that is absolutely critical. That is worshipped around here. And, there has to be execution behind it. And then you have to wonder, I don't think that there are, and I'm not putting us on this call or myself certainly on any kind of pedestal, but you got to wonder if people are really, really, really good marketers. It takes a lot of time. And are they really executing on the back end? And are they good practitioners of what they are talking about and how successful they are in whatever it is that they are discussing in that format? And so that is where you need to dig in and then partner with some folks like what you two do, is to be able to find somebody to hold them by the hand, be the Sherpa, take them up the mountain and sift through all the information that's out there, because there isn't a lot of it that is truthful, unfortunately. And so that's, at the end of the day, that's how we help people, is to be able to, before it was, hey, there aren't too many people doing this and sharing it, back in the day, whatever you want to call in the day, 05, 06, 07 or whatever. And now it's just like, there's so many, everybody's an expert. Who do I go to? And that's where people come to us and come to you guys to say, hey, help me sift through all this stuff. And are you the real deal? And, tell me, did you do 2 successful deals back in 08 and now you're teaching it? Or, are you in the business right now and you do hundreds a year and you're really just your education is just, and consultation is just an extension of your success and what you're doing in the business. And I think that's the key for people to be able to, really be able to make a change in what they're doing.
Yeah, I think just having people do their due diligence on who they're listening to. Glenn has an expression that's probably one of my favorites, and it's, be careful who you take advice from, because you might end up just like them. And so, if your Uncle Fred's giving you, marital advice, and he's been, married and divorced 6 times, that may not be the best person to take marital advice from, or financial advice, or whatever the case may be. So I think though that people will be able to, if they do even just a little bit of due diligence, they can sniff out authenticity versus somebody that's just, putting on a show. And I think that makes a really big difference with people, our students. Even one of the biggest things recently that we've been challenged with is having what we refer to as, the right butts in the right seats. And for a while, it was actually really difficult to hire people. Like the pool of people to choose from was very limited. It was almost like real estate industry, like the inventory was very low.
Still is.
And there's that term now of human capital, which I don't love that term. I just think it sounds a little bit impersonal, but it is really true. When you bring someone on your team, you want to make sure that they're not just going to be adequate. There comes a point where in your business, where maybe in the beginning, if one thing we could teach people is to not accept mediocrity. And so you want to, we had this conversation yesterday in the car where, there might be points in your business where you hire someone to because you're just hopeful that they'll be able to get the job done. All right, let's hire you and see how you do. But then you get to a point in your life or in your business where you're like, you know what, if that person is not a hell yes, that is the right person for the right seat. They fit all of the qualifications. They have the capacity to do the business. They want to work in that position, and they have the skill set to do it effectively. You stop accepting that mediocrity, and then your business starts to really, really grow. But we've learned that lesson the hard way several times, actually.
Still learning it.
Still
learning at the moment.
And that's one of the pieces that I wanted to kind of drill down on, to get to the level where you guys are, and to be able to execute the way that you have, just the sheer number of transactions. And then as the business grows, all the support that goes behind that. We've the folks that are listening now are very familiar that we follow Traction. So we follow Gina Wickman's model, and I know that you two do as well. And so a couple of things that you mentioned, Amber, was right seats on the bus. That's Jim Collins. But when we're talking about, do they get it and do they want it? Those finding those people and putting them in those seats in those positions. There's a couple of things that we need to drill down on. So if you would, why don't you share, because you guys have been very successful at this, share a little bit about how you decipher that and how you pull that out in an interview, or any of the background or personality checks that you do to finally get that right person who gets it and wants it, and put them in the right seat.
Lately, so I'm in the middle right now of whale fishing, right? I am fishing for a new integrator. If you follow Traction at all, it's the number two, right? The number two person in your business that I'm a strong visionary to take the visionary and then to execute on that. And we had a great guy in the role, loved him, still part of our business. Matter of fact, he's going to move to a different division where it's a better fit for him, in our rental portfolio. But we had him running as an integrator, and as great of a guy as he wasn't executing, right? The numbers were dropping every month and he just wasn't executing. So now I had to make the hard decision to have that conversation last week. And that's not a fun conversation. That's not a fun conversation at all. So I've been with you for a couple of years and failing, but you have to have that conversation. So I had to have it. And now I am whale hunting, right? And so I am number one my first thing is to look for referrals. I think that referrals are the number one thing. Find the most successful people the people that make 7-8 figures a year, or high sixes at least. Find those leaders, those other owners of companies, and start asking questions. Because that's saying birds of a feather, right? They flock together, and I think that's very true at the high levels as well. People that tend to operate at high levels tend to have friends who operate at high levels. So I think we first started by asking for referrals, and we are right in the middle of this hunt right now, and we haven't secured anybody yet, but it's a delicate process, to find this type of a leader, right? I'm not aggressive in my interviewing style. I'm more bonding. I want to make sure we're a good fit. I want to make sure we share the same values through conversation, not through, hey, do you share my values? They say yes. I say, let's move on, because anybody could say that. And I have, I'm meeting with several different people, and I'm just having conversations now. That the people that you're looking for that role, you want them to already be employed, unless there's some extenuating circumstance. You want them to already be employed, right? Because that's what you want. You want something that other people are seeking. So I think that's a big part of it. They have to share your values. They've got to share your values. That's a key component. In that business, our value is traits. That's the acronym we use. It's tenacity and resourcefulness, and Allegro, the musical term for speed. We want to move at fast speed. Integrity. Sorry, I had to do my spelling in my head. Integrity and teamwork. So those are our character traits that we have. So we make sure that people follow those. Once we get down that path a little bit, then I'm going to have them, at that level, I'm going to have them take a PI index and just make sure that it feels like it's the right fit. Not that the PI index is a personality profile test that goes over their cognitive skills, goes over are they the right fit for the right job? Is their personality suited for that role? Because some people's if you asked me to be in a role to be an accountant in detail, I would suck at it. I'd be terrible at it. I don't like details. I just don't. I'm not a detail person by any stretch of the imagination. And you've got to know your strengths and weaknesses. You have to hire where you're weak, for sure. So
you can't hire off of your gut. Like
no.
We've done that so many times. Oh, I like that person. We've hired off of our gut rather than even the skill set, or whether it fit their personality style. And that's what I like about the PI index, is it takes a very psychological approach to hiring versus just a gut feeling of whether that person might be good or not.
I think right now, and again, now if I'm hiring for a manager position, that kind of stuff, I'm going to put the personality profile first and take them through that. When I'm whale hunting, I'm not going to treat them like that. I'm going to treat them like a whale, and I'm going to really make sure that they, make sure that we share our values first. That's number one. Then we'll get to the PI. Then as the conversation goes, I'm going to have them read what the heck is EOS, right? It's a quick little read that talks about the EOS system from Traction. And I have them read that book on Audible. They can listen to it in 2 hours. And I want them to show me that they're serious about understanding. I say, I need you to understand that that's a number 2 role. I'm number 1, you're number 2. We have to understand that role, right? And I want to make sure they understand that role, because not everybody gets that. Some people say, well, I want to be number 1. Well, that's great. Then go be it. You can't be it with me, you know? And so I want to make sure that I've had success in my other company, our education company. And this is the exact process I took to find my integrator. And she came as a referral, going to be a salesperson. And my sales manager said, Glenn, I think she's got a lot more on the ball than just being an advisor for us. I think you should talk to her. And that's how this one thing led to another. And I went through this very same process. And it took 6 weeks. But over that 6 weeks, we finally made a decision to come together. We discussed numbers and we came together and been building a great business for almost a year now, ever since.
I think it's important too to, there's that saying, you know, be the energy you want to attract. And I think that the days of you're lucky to have a job are over. And especially for these, you know, higher end job kind of things. And you have to be a company that people want to work for. You know, when you're interviewing, you have to sell yourself in the company. And I think it's also really important. And I think this comes with age and life experience, is to put your ego out of the way and be able to hire people that are better than you in their skill set. But I think a lot of people, especially, you know, if they're just getting going or they're younger, just don't have that life experience. And that can really get in the way of hiring someone that's better than you, because you always want to be, you know, the confident one, the one that has all the answers, the go-to person. And in your role, you'll still be able to be that person. But I think it's really important to be able to hire people that are better than you in their own areas.
Yeah, I'd like to pull on that thread for a second, Amber. And you show me a company where the visionary, the leader, the CEO, the boss refuses to or is unwilling to hire somebody that is smarter than them in any area or multiple areas. And I'll show you a business that is failing or is probably going to fail. That is absolutely, I never want to be the smartest person in the room, because I can't learn anything from anyone. And I certainly don't want to be the smartest person in every facet of my business, because that means that our business is going to fail because I can't. And I realize that there's no way. And I have strong suits, and there's other areas that I absolutely would be the worst person to be running that. So I shouldn't be leading anybody in that realm either. So that very important. And also I know Amber and Glenn, you're both pointing to people that are starting out, and I will as well. If you're growing and scaling a business, this may seem like, and some folks may have already tuned out right now thinking, well, you know, it is what it is, and I'll hire people based upon an ad. And I can tell you the cost, I mean, the true cost of what it is to make a bad hire, to put somebody in, waste that time, if they're not going to work out, waste that time of training and the salary and your business. You know, clearly there's a vacuum, whether that person's in there or not. Until they're producing, there's a vacuum. And then if you have to replace them before they ever get up to speed, if they never get up to speed, then you've lost 2, 3, 6 months before you have to start it all over again. And then you've lost a year until you get somebody back up to speed. And you make 2, 3, 4 bad hires in a year's time, and your company's going to struggle. So the tools that we're talking about here, using a predictive index, reading and understanding the entrepreneur operating system, or EOS, in the book Traction, you know, it doesn't have to be those, but you should be doing something in terms of testing to make sure that you're getting the right person for the job, a clear job description that determines, you know, exactly what they're going to be doing, so that there is a good match, understanding, you know, the value set that you want in your business. And I mean, key that you also touched on, Amber, is I think it was you, Glenn, is you hire based upon your core values. And I think so. I made many bad hires over the years because I was like, this person is a rock star. They are the best for XYZ position, but they didn't share our core values. And I thought, well, we'll mold them, we'll shape them, or we'll put up because they can do this. And yeah, you're already shaking your head. And that is absolutely the wrong answer. You know, we will overlook somebody, you know, the rock star for the number 2 candidate if they share our core values and they get it and they want it, and that we know that we can build upon that. We can teach the rest.
Yeah. It's I would tell anybody who's just starting out here, if you say, well, I want to start expanding I want to grow from me to more people, your first hire needs to be a rock star. I mean, like you said, the amount of money you spend and the amount of time you spend, and when you're brand new in business, you don't think of it in those terms. You think, if I just got somebody who works for me, I'm so happy. But if you could think of it in terms of, I need to have somebody better than me and somebody that can do all the stuff I'm not good at. and I need to have them share my core values. If you could think in those terms instead of I'm just thankful to have somebody working for me right now, and think of somebody that if you made the investment, even paid more for the interview process, took longer to find them, pay them more than you expect to pay them. Like pay them more, pay them so it hurts a little bit. If you pay them so it hurts and you're scared, that's probably a good thing, as long as it's the right person. And you never know, it's never an exact science, but even that first hire can change your life. I saw a post, it may have been in the group that we share, Scott, and I don't remember exactly where it was, but I did see a post online that said, you are 2 or 3 hires away from a different life. Not from a better business, but from a different life. Because with the right people, I have one company that's been thriving with the right leadership and one that has not been. And so I have this experience right now to live in both worlds. And I know what it's like to work with A players. I know what it's like to work with C players with a bunch of A players. And I've had to go in and clean house and get rid of the C players. Not easy, not fun, nothing I like to do. But looking back in hindsight, it was almost like, I should have made that decision early on, right? Earlier on.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say too, is, even using all of these tools, the PI index and traction, and, even going through the interview process, you may still end up with the wrong person. Your odds are better if you use all the tools at your disposal, but you may still end up with the wrong person.
Yeah.
So how do you, my advice here is to trust your gut more. And if you start to think that this person is not the right person, you're probably right. And just like holding out that hope that they're going to do better is more often than not going to get you in trouble.
I was talking to one of my best friends. We grew up together. We lived very different lives, right? I lived on the coast. I'm on the ocean, all type of stuff. He's very simple. We grew up, we're first grade best friends, like really like, bury a body in the woods, kind of best friend, right? One of those guys. He's just a great guy. But we live very different lives, but we share core values. And that's why we're best friends. And I talked to him. He works for a school district. He's a janitor. Not janitor, but he works in that department, in the construction department. And not a business owner at all. But I said to him, I was telling him my dilemma. He asked how business is going. I told him my dilemma. I said, I think I'm gonna have to let somebody go. It's pretty high level. It's, it's making me uncomfortable and this and that. And he said, somebody told me something once. When in doubt, there is no doubt.
Yeah.
I thought, I said, I still want to gather enough information to make sure that it's the right decision. But good point. Once you start doubting, it's probably going to come to a head. So and I'm not great at that, Scott. I'm not great at. Some people are good at going. Doesn't feel right. You're gone. I'm not quite that quick.
Those hard decisions are hard. They're painful. Like they can actually make you like sick to your stomach and
sure,
literally. And so it's not easy to make those. So sometimes you have to be willing. If you're wanting to play at that level, you have to be willing to make those hard decisions and hard calls. But if you want the best for your business, which should be one of your character traits. And the other thing is that, like even the person that Glenn is referring to in our business that he had to have that conversation with, he was going through the day, and like anytime you talk to him, he wasn't energized like by the position. He was very drained. So even for him, like in the long run, we're really doing him a favor, putting him in a position that he's going to excel at and be energized and do well at and feel good about, and then have someone else take over this other position.
Your other team takes notice too, Scott, right? So when you make a move like that, everybody else goes, okay, if that can happen, it can happen to me. So I was like, guys, I'm done. I'm done with mediocrity. We're done with it. So.
Or they thank you because, as you mentioned, Amber, there's many times where there's some people that should have been let go, and if they're sucking the life and the energy out of you, then chances are, and you're the boss, chances are they're sucking all the life out of the rest of the team. And many times we've had those thank yous when a cancer was removed. And so it's good to have also open communication with your team to say, hey, we all are a part of a team here, and my door is open all the time. And if you need to have a closed door meeting because there's something going on that I can't fix it if I don't know about it. And so that is it's a tough piece. It's a tough part where you never want to let anybody go because of there's a ripple effect. I mean, it's somebody's livelihood that you're changing, and potentially a family as well. So we've I think in some instances I've been maybe a little too quick when in a review process we noticed some shortcomings that I should have pointed those out a little bit earlier and been a little more forceful, and or gotten support or help to maybe shore up some of those areas. Ultimately, I think we still ended up where we were at the end. But it is tough. The adage of, slow to hire, quick to fire is easier said by anybody who's writing the books about hiring practices.
So true. So true.
Not as simple when, there's, 90% of the time, this guy or gal is doing a really great job, but it's the 10% that is just causing lots of issues. And that's the reason why they're going to have to go. And that's why we languish on a little longer than usual. So easier said than done in practice.
Yeah. If all your listeners, if you're just starting, if you just remember that, the people that you put on your team will make or break your life, not your business, but your life. I mean, that's my opinion. If you get the right people, if you get the wrong person, your business will cause such stress at home. It can cause a ripple effect through your home life. And if you get the right person, it can cause a ripple effect through your life in a good way. If you have more time, more peace, you have confidence, you're enjoying what you're doing. It's just a different life to have the right person. When you're hiring somebody, think about this person's going to change the quality of my life one way or the other. So choose wisely. So,
it's almost like getting in a relationship with
yeah.
Not almost, it is. It absolutely is. And, most of the experts will state that you, as the leader of your organization, you shouldn't have more than 5 people reporting to you. You shouldn't be leading more than 5 people. That's really all the effect that you can have, and to really be able to be effective. And so, if you're looking to, as you stated earlier, Glenn, you're only 2 to 3 hires away from having a different life. If we're looking at a team of 2, 3, or 5 people, you absolutely have to take the time to make sure that it is the right person. You've got lieutenants that are in charge of 5 different areas of your organization, and it only takes one of them that's not firing on all cylinders to allow you to step back and be who you want to be and have the life that you want to have, and truly be the visionary, and to be able to check out and not be the practitioner. And I also want to go back to one of the other pieces, but we're turning this into an HR podcast very, very quickly here. But one of the pieces that you mentioned, Glenn, is that, we tend to oftentimes, I mean, we're bootstrappers anyways, we're entrepreneurs, we start our own business. We have to watch every expense, and it becomes very difficult when it comes to payroll, and to look at that as an expense. But if you continue to always look at it through the lens of an expense by adding a person on, and it happens to be one of those top 5, you won't get to that place. As you mentioned, Glenn, you have to be that 20% above, because it's going to be somebody that has to be better than you in that market. And so if you go on to, payroll.com, or you look at what the average salary is for that position, if you want that person that truly is going to be able to run with this and not lean back on you, or you're not going to have to go back in and clean up messes or start all over again, each and every one of those key hires, you need to be looking for the best and the most that you can afford, because it will pay in spades, 5-fold, for just that extra incremental increase in getting the right people in place. Otherwise, you will be on the hamster wheel, and you'll continue to spin through people, and perhaps never get to that place where you truly can, extricate yourself from that side of the business.
Yeah. We spent last week with a gentleman that was here from one of our companies we work with, that is a big supplier to our speaking company. And he was with that company for 10 years. And we had some very intimate conversations about numbers and stuff. He came to my home, we become friends, and he sat here and talked to me for 6 hours. He was here for last week. And he said when he got recruited to that company, they were in the hole. They were a $4 million company in the hole. They were kind of losing money every year. Their EBITDA was minus 4-point-something%, whatever. And now they did $68 million last year with a 25% gross profit margin. So and again, right person. And I said, how do I get myself one of you? Well, he laughed, but I did say, who do you know? And that's got the wheels turning, and made some introductions for me. And that's now people that operate at a higher level hang out together, and they respect this gentleman a lot. So now when they say, hey, go talk to Glenn, they're like, oh, I should talk to Glenn? Yeah, you should talk to Glenn. Okay, I'll talk to Glenn. Because there's that relationship. There's that respect level that's right there. So I think that's what you want to, when you start looking for people out of the gates, start going to the highest people the most successful people and say, who do you know? That's what I want to talk to. And can you put in a good word for me?
Who may be looking for a change that is maybe being held back at the current organization in which they're employed. That's who we're looking for.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Tough to find, but Hey, so is success. That's part of the game.
It is. So let's chat a little bit about that for folks that are looking to grow and scale right now. We mentioned and you mentioned at the top of our time together that the best place to find people is through referral, because it is a jungle out there and it is such a laborious process to go through even LinkedIn or any of the other shared services, and only to find out that they're just not going to work. So um, tell us a little bit, if you would, about how you use your referral network when you're specifically looking for someone, or if there's another strategy that you have in drawing good people into your organization.
So, I mean, I think I covered that in great kind of the referral that I take. It's not really, I don't really have a structured format. It's just a relationship side. But what I'm looking for other members of our team, we've hired an HR person in both of our companies. We have an HR person that's what they do. So that's what we've done. However, prior to that, we would have an outside company. So we use Sharper. That's what we've done in the past, the recruiting and personnel, the Sharper personnel, and they will pre-screen people for us before they ever get to us. Just try and save time, because the interview can be such a time suck. I mean, it's exhausting. It's mentally exhausting. So I think that's what we find, is that we will, in the past, we've run ads and done that ourselves, but I don't think we're not great. We weren't great at figuring it out, right? We had to use that testing process.
Well, yeah, that was before we started using traction and the PI index and all of that.
Yeah.
But even more recently, one thing we've incorporated is not just our own networks, but also the people that work for us, whether, their circle of influence and their networks as far as referrals go.
You didn't even know this, but I offered our team $1,000 today. I said, I'll give you $1,000 bonus if anybody introduces us to somebody that we end up hiring. So I gave them a bonus if, I went to our existing network, because who better to talk about your team than your team? So I want to see who they know. So these are simple things that might seem like, oh, I don't know if I want to use that, but there might be people right in your network you don't even know, but if you don't ask, you'll never know.
Right. And very good. I mean, if they're happy, your staff is happy with what you have built and your culture, and they're excited about your mission and where you're going, then yes, they're your best ambassadors and they're your best recruiters. So yeah, to offer them that carrot as a reminder is absolutely a great way to go about that.
Yeah.
Well, Glenn and Amber, once again, great to connect with you once again in between our live meetings, and just glad to hear that you're almost fully moved in to the new home, and congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So, and Glenn, looking forward also to having you and your daughter coming down to build a house with us in Mexico. We are just so excited about that. Everybody around here is excited to take now 3 teams of people to build houses, and also our team here, Team Myers, is excited to get back out there as well. So looking forward to seeing you two then.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, we're excited to be there. Thanks for having us on today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yep, our pleasure. So with that, any parting words for the times that we're in right now in the investment world? Everybody's looking at what's happening with taxes and real estate and the finance markets. And, we've been focusing a lot on finding good people. And that is a byproduct of this, is going out and finding good people. It isn't as easy. So parting words for anybody who's looking to grow and scale in real estate in today's day and age.
Well, I don't know. I tell you, it's, I wish I had a crystal ball to know what's going to happen next. We just don't know. I think that Amber and I started in 07, back when the market was tanking, it wasn't just a financial crisis, it was a real estate financial crisis. That's when we started. So we've been through a lot of cycles. This cycle I would have thought would have been done by now. I think a lot of us thought that, and it's still going, and it's hard to say when it's going to end. I think that if you're just starting now or you're getting going, you got to buckle up and be ready, because if you're riding high right now, that's great. You could be riding low tomorrow. I mean, it can happen really quickly. So buckle up, and I think stay to your core strengths, whatever those are, whatever you do, like get good at those.
Yeah, have more than one exit strategy if you're getting into real estate. But actually, during the workshop, you have this line. You say, when was the best time to get into real estate? 10 years ago.
Yeah.
When is the best time to get into real estate? Now. So you can't go backwards. So we would still say, go for it. Go after your dreams. Real estate is where it's at, in our opinion. There's all these other things, the stock market is very volatile. It's not like people don't make money there, but it's, like real estate has this tried and true history of always appreciating. I sent him a map the other day on Zillow. So like 6 months ago, the projection for the increase in value was like 10%. Now it's up to like 21 6 months later.
That's crazy.
So it's kind of crazy how, what this market is like, but there are always ways to make money in real estate. And for us, even though we're talking about all these different challenges and bumps and bruises we've had to go for along the way, I wouldn't trade this for a 9-to-5 job ever. Like, you know, if you've got this dream and you really want to do this, get off of your butt and do it. You know, take the thoughts that are in your head and turn them into what you said in the beginning, execution. Take action toward it, because you can't get back yesterday.
So get educated. If they want to be in stores, go to you, right? You're the man. You're the one that's got that. You have a great program. It's all teed up for them. Go to there. If you want to learn how to flip houses, come to us. Right? Whatever, you know, find somebody that's going to educate you. They'll find whatever you want to do, whatever your lane is, and go learn. Like, learn from people that done it before you. But I'd act fast, because I don't know how long it's going to last for. I don't know what's going to happen. You know, will there be who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? The interest rates are so low now. They've got to eventually go back up. I think if you could, the more long-term asset you can secure at low interest rates right now is a better play. The longer you can lock those rates in for, again, historically speaking, it's like still a 20-year low for what, you know, for interest rates. It's been kind of crazy. I don't know how they can raise it fast and just cripple the economy if they do. So I think it's going to last for a little while. You got to capitalize. You got to jump out there. You keep sitting on the couch thinking about starting, and you never start. You're going to wake up one day and go, "Gosh, I wish rates are 8%. I wish I had started." You know, and let's hope they're only at 8%. Let's hope it's not back to 80%.
Don't be a shoulda, coulda, woulda person. Go out and do it.
Go out and do it. Have to do it.
Yep. Agreed. You know, it is getting the proper education to make sure you don't step in something, but not falling into the analysis or paralysis by analysis. And yeah, gosh, this year more than ever, I'll call it 2020 and where we're at in 2021 now, speed has just been at the forefront of everything. So as you mentioned, we have to do things much faster. And I just find myself at the end of the day saying, gosh, we got to do things faster. We know what to do now. And we're just, it seems like we're not fighting the market in terms of time, but just getting anything across the finish line is all about speed. And that's what wins in this game right now. So bending time, getting that education from somebody else, so you're not waiting forever, and going out and doing it. So guys, I appreciate so much the time that you took, and lots of good nuggets here for folks that are learning how to scale and grow a business like you two have done. So with that, what is the best way to get in touch with Glenn and Amber?
We have multiple companies, so we wanted to make it easy for everybody. So we have glennandamber.com, and that has links to our home flipping workshop. It has links to our podcast, which you've been a lovely guest on. It has links to our YouTube channel, like all of our social media platforms. So they can just go to glennandamber.com and find us that way.
Yep.
And Beautiful. If they want to come to the workshop, they can go to homeflippingworkshop.com.
Yep, for sure. We do have them about every month. Whenever this airs, we usually have something going on all the time. So.
Beautiful. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you all very soon. Take care.
Thank you. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Hey gang, wait, 3 things before you leave. First, don't forget to subscribe to the Self Storage Podcast and turn on your notifications so you never miss another episode. And while you're there, please leave us a 5-star review if you like the show. Second, be sure to share your favorite episodes and more via Instagram, and don't forget to tag us. And lastly, head to the links in the show description and hit the follow and subscribe button on Twitter and Facebook to get a front row seat as we grow and scale our business and bring you along with us. Take care.